Okay, here we are. We are talking with our first international guest during our run of Goodbye Promise. We're chatting with filmmaker David Paul Baker. He's someone that we've known for the last several years. He's he's amazingly talented. He's gritty. He's just like us. He loves to just he doesn't like to wait for people anymore. He just wants to start doing the work. He's just like us in the sense that he wants to do the work quickly and getting it out there. And we're just super thrilled to have you join us.
Yeah.
Thank you, David.
Great to be here. I don't think it's that I don't like to wait for anybody. It's that nobody's answering my calls back. They just keep moving. But no, it's great to connect with you. And I've been watching the campaign, which I know you've had a little break from because you're helping this other campaign. And I've watched the other videos where there are people talking about it. Over the last week. And when I first saw it, it was kind of $1 million. That was the first sort of impression, and I just thought about it. I'm sure that you're not trying to get $1 million. You're not going to. Well, you might get $1 million. Who knows? But I kind of got what you were trying to do there. I knew somebody. I had an idea that somebody was going to possibly distribute over Kickstarter, Indiegogo, but I never had any idea that you guys would go that route, which is great.
No, I'm glad to have you covered right away. So obviously, the $1 million, really sort of, said, "Whoa, look at this." But I mean, so did you see this thing coming this soon? Did you figure like someone may try this, but it may still be a while before someone sort of dives into these waters?
I had an idea when I started seeing Kickstarter campaigns with somebody like Seth Godin, who was kind of doing a book, and somebody else that was non-filmmaking. And I remember saying to Oklahoma Ward about 2 months ago, I think somebody might distribute over Kickstarter. I never thought Indiegogo, I thought Kickstarter. And then it kind of went out of my head, And then when I saw you guys, it was like, boom, it was there, and I thought it's great, because it is just, you finished the movie, you're giving the movie out there. And the main thing as well is, as you know, it's not always about the monetize. We need to monetize. We need to make money, but it is building the audience. It is the key thing. It really is, and that's the way that I'm starting to see things. It's not so much about thinking about the cash and about the money in the first place. It's really building that audience and let them see your work. Because everybody talks about they've got fans, and I don't think anybody really has fans as such, because I don't think we haven't been on here long enough to gather fans. Like 5-7 years. I think you gather real fans when you've got a body of work out there over years that have seen your work, that have seen several films, seen a lot of content, and then you really get fans. So it's just getting kind of supporters at that first instance. That's what I think anyway, to get to the point that one day you do get fans that really, want to see your work.
Yeah, and I think too there's a definition, because we're all in this together. We're all trying to market ourselves and put content out there, and it seems like that maybe there's a new definition. It's not even just a fan. It's more of a sort of a peer. It's like that peer-to-peer type of sharing.
Yeah, like a patron. Yeah. Well, it's more, I think it's to do with people believe. Even if we're all making films and stuff with very little money, and we're making it with a little money, and all our films are a little kind of rough around the edge. I've just made Screen, and it's rough around the edge, but it's that way where you're showing your potential, what you could turn into in the next 5 years. I think that's the key. It's not saying, look, I want to charge, you should buy this for $20. This is, when you're going against studios and you're going against it. It's just, I think it's showing that spark in your potential, that people buy into, and then it takes it to another level in years ahead. If you really push, you really get better. Then you build fans that really can't wait to see your work. But I think at this level, it's patrons, it's people who believe in you, which is why it's so important to believe in you, not just the work. And that's why sometimes when I go online and people, you support my film, you retweet my film, and they haven't even spoke to me ever, and they want me to support their film or retweet it, Yeah. Like you guys, we've been connecting for about 2.5 years, 3 years, same with a lot of other people online, and although you can't push everybody, but I tend towards the people that I've known for 3 years that I know that are going to stick in it, that are pushing, they're trying to get somewhere, they're trying to do something. So, you know, I think at this level it's believing in people, you know, which Kickstarter really and Indiegogo is about, really, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think too we're in a new age where now we can tweet like, you know, at so and so, and it's whereas before we had to go and find their address at the library, like you were talking about earlier, and find out. Like I remember years ago, I wanted to write Michael Landon a letter when I was a kid from my little house on the prairie, and it's just like, where do you find this? You know, this is a long time ago. Now we can just go on Twitter and just maybe get a conversation started. And another thing too, I mean, because it's so, people are so accessible online, or their PR people are. We feel like they're talking to the real star there. But also too, now we've also kind of become enthralled with each other's stories, and so we gain these new acquaintances online. You know, maybe they're not friends, maybe they're not fans, but they're maybe acquaintances, and we're all like interested in their story. And so that's another way to kind of gain an audience when, you know, they're artists themselves, and so it's an interesting time.
And I mean, that's a point you bring up, because it's quite a strange thing. I remember when I was in Oklahoma last year, you know, doing Screen, and I was talking to Oklahoma Ward, who's a filmmaker, for people that don't know, and we were talking about stuff, and I was talking about, it is very strange that communities kind of come together. And in a way it's great, and in a way it's kind of bad, you know, because in a way it's almost like a comfort zone. Everybody kind of congregates together. I see it in other communities. I see it in business communities. I see it in various sports communities and filmmaker communities. They come together. It's slightly like a comfort zone, and in a way that if you went to a high street, and in the high street it was full of hairdressers, and then the hairdressers started to come to each other's hairdressing place and started to fund each other, it's a really bad way to do things. You know, you run a business, but so at first I couldn't get my head around it when filmmakers are helping filmmakers. I just thought, as filmmakers, been really bad business people, because, you know. But then, on the other side, what you see, there are so many bad movies, there's so much bad content made in the world, Hollywood, independents, that you want to end up inspiring each other and pushing to be better, you know. So in a way, if you're kind of raising the bar, if you're helping each other, you're trying to create something, you know, that's better in the industry, that's better than, it's different for Hollywood, it's different for so-and-so. So in a way, it kind of levels up, you know. But at the same time, I think with the future ahead, people are going to start spreading to where they need to get their audiences. Where you know, if you're going to make a genre movie, a crime movie, if you're going to make a sports movie, you go to those communities and you really build the fans there, you know, rather than staying in our kind of comfort zone, you know. And I think that's what's going to evolve in the time ahead, you know.
Yeah, is that where that saying, no man's a prophet in his own land kind of a thing comes? I mean, because in some sense it's almost like, yeah, it's like leaving your hometown a little bit. Like maybe you were nothing there, but if you kind of travel out, then you're able to kind of reestablish yourself and kind of become a new person. Is that sort of what you're saying?
Well, yeah, and the thing is, I understand the reason for it as well, because if you're a filmmaker, you live and breathe film, so your subject matter, what you can converse about, what you can tweet about, is about that. So you're going to end up attracting the same people. You know, but when I go to communities that are into actually watching movies and love horror movies, especially horror fans that go to horror conventions, they just talk about movies. They don't talk about making movies. They don't talk about cameras. They don't talk about crowdfunding. They talk about movies. So as filmmakers, it's those people that we want to be our fans, if you know what I mean. You want to get those people that love what you do. So in a way, I think it's a good balance between both, but I think as filmmakers, we need to spread to find our real communities for the type of work that we're going to do, you know, over the next few years. And I think it'll evolve that way. And every community does it. As I've said, I've seen sports communities. Recently, I was in a business community on Twitter online, and they were all kind of congregating together as well, learning from each other, you know. So it's just what everybody does, really, you know.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, you know, one thing we got frustrated with on our side, David, is you know, and I wonder if you've also kind of experienced this, because, you know, you have Mission X, which is a film that's completed, and now you have the movie Screen, which I think is, you know, you're starting to get some feedback on that. I think you still have some more tweaks to do, maybe with audio and some more post-production before it's totally ready. But on our side, you know, our first film, Night Before the Wedding, you know, we have on Amazon currently. And now, and then as we got ready to release this film, really for small films like the one we've made, and maybe like some of the films you've recently made, it's like, there's not, it's difficult. It's difficult. Like, people don't realize the challenge of just, and the money involved in getting it on these various platforms. So it becomes really frustrating, and as we looked at it, we're just like, really, more than anything, we just want to put it online, nice and easy, simple, so that people can access it. And just like you said before we came on, before we went live with this broadcast, you talked about just putting it out there and seeing if you can sort of create that snowball, create that thing where you just have it in motion and just push it forward. And we really felt for this small film of ours that was definitely the best option. We don't have the money and resources to compete with Hollywood to go the theatrical route. We don't have the patience right now to see what would happen on the film festival, in the film festival world.
Or the money.
Yeah. We just wanted to just share a little film with the world.
Well, Gregory Bain made a good point where, because I watched, the video with Gregory, and he speaks a lot of stuff that I can believe, where you don't just make the work to try and sell it and to make the work. You make the work, and the more that you make, the more productive that you get, the more people see your work. You attract these other eyeballs, you attract these other people in the industry, where you might get freelance jobs. But if you've got a film and you've got it, it's taking you a year, it's taking you a year and a half to make it, and I'm speaking from one experience here, and it's taking you another year to get it out there, and it's 90 minutes of content, it's 90 minutes of your work over the space of 3 years. That's those 3 years that nobody has seen you, that no opportunities are coming ahead. So I think, and that's why, over the last few weeks we've been talking about YouTubers, and I think I get misunderstood sometimes that I want to be a YouTuber, and there's nothing matter with that. YouTubers are doing great stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's really annoying when you switch off a channel and it's like screaming, but there's a lot to be learned for them, because they're getting the work out there every single week. They're getting eyeballs, they're building that audience, they're getting opportunities that's come along, they're making money. And I think it's really important to get a model. It's not a YouTube model if you want to be an independent filmmaker, but not an independent filmmaker, but some hybrid between both, where you're making a lot of content, and good content, but you're getting it out fast. And the more that people are seeing your work, the more you're really going to build real fans, and other opportunities come in. And that's when you have to stop. That's when you stop worrying about monetizing, because it's just like Twitter or Facebook, or Instagram or Pinterest. It's like, I think if you think about monetizing at the very start, that's when you're going to be in trouble. I think it's building that audience that you have to focus. And that's why I'm always so adamant about making movies for as cheap as possible, because if you make them as cheap as possible, Mission X and Screen, really, to be honest about it, I made them to learn. If you take guys like Ridley Scott, before he even touched his first feature film, he made something like 2,000 TV commercials. So he knew how to shoot a movie. He's not a writer, but he knew how to shoot, before he even came his first feature. So in a way, I've made 3 feature films, but I still feel like an infant. I still feel like an amateur completely, even though I've learned a lot. So my attitude over the last few years has changed. Mission X was really, I want to make a film, I want to learn, I want to get out there, I want to make Screen. I learned a hell of a lot on Screen. I learned how to edit, I learned how to shoot, I learned how to, and then people are seeing, if you say you're going to do this and you do it, people know that if I give him money, he's going to do that, So you build a reputation, and I think that's what we need to turn into. We need to make more work, quality work, but we need to make more of it, and we need to get it out there, and we need to build that audience. And like Gregory Bain was talking, these other opportunities come in. Because somebody messaged me today and says about my short film, how did I get my short film out there? Should I start charging for it? And then it's like, Jesus, these YouTubers are putting short films out every single week for free, and you're putting one film out there and you're thinking about charging for it. It's like, get the work made and get it out there. And that's why I've kind of changed my attitude in the last 6 months, where I want to do this other project, where it's about making a lot of content, a lot of work. And it's that way as you're a creative person, that it's a kind of strange business where you're not very creative for very long. If you make a film, you might be shooting 6 days, 21 days, bang, you're in post-production, you're creative. But you get about 18 months where you ain't creative. I think it should be like 70% you're creative and 30% you're selling, you're doing all that sort of boring stuff that you've got to do. Then if you get the internet, you've got that side. When you're finished, bang, it goes. You're not waiting in any festivals, you're not waiting on anybody getting back to you, you're not waiting, it just goes right away. You create. So it's like Coppola used to talk years ago, 20 years ago, Francis Ford Coppola, and he says it's going to become more of an art form. And I think it is, because if it's small, contained, and you're fast and you're mean, like a YouTuber, but you get the same spirit as an independent filmmaker, then you make that and you get it out there, you build the audience. And if you build the audience and you want to make a Breaking Bad in 7 years' time and you've got 1 million people, you can go, I want to make this big television serial. That's the kind of way that I think it's just making more work, and it makes it more fun. I like to move fast like a painter and do things, and it's so frustrating the way that things are done. It's kind of the old model, the way I see it. Yeah.
Well,
that's how I feel. I don't know how you feel. How do you feel in terms of making a film, the length of time? Do you get that sort of feeling, the frustration about how long it is? And
yeah. Well, I think Karen has something, and then I'll jump in. I'll answer that thought there, David.
Yeah, it was just real quick, and it was just that it sounds like you have like 50% artist and then 50% businessman inside of you. And I don't know, maybe we talked about this before, but was that always the case, or did you just see from watching that there were so many people that just wanted to make great art and they didn't want to do anything with it after that?
No, I never had a business head over the years. But what I had the side there where I used to write scripts, and I'd put them in the drawer, I'd write another script and write it in the drawer, and I'd go, well, if I get so business-like and look for money, that's killing my creative side, but those scripts will never be made if I don't get the business side. Like the thing I want to do next year, City of Sin, is very much, I'm not jumping in, I'm just making a point here, that it's a world that is kind of business-like, but inside that world, the content is creative, very creative. It's within an infrastructure, and I think if we can get in a way, I think it's just creating a side where, for me personally, an example, I came up with Screen 6 years ago. When by the time the thing gets made, before I'm ready to shoot it, I'm done with it, if you know what I mean, because it was 6 years ago. The scripts that I've got now are just came fresh in the last few months. I've got some old stories, but I don't like to get them too. I like to just keep them that way. Keep them I don't completely know them, so that when I go to make them, they're fresh, they're exciting, they're spontaneous, and then when on time I'm finishing post, bang, they go to the world. So they're fresh. I ain't bored with them. It feels more creative, and you're on to the next thing. So it's not even from a business point of view. I think. Actually get more content out there to make money. It's more from a creative. If you take any business again, where these platforms are Facebook, they were never designed to make billions. They came across them by accident. Twitter, it was never designed thinking it's going to make billions. But if you're there to solve a problem, and for me personally, solving a problem is being more creative. And then when you realise if you're more creative and there's more of it, there's a chance that it's going to just make money as well, because you're going to build an audience. So I think you have to have a fine balance between creative and business, and I think the problem is everybody just looks to monetize and make money first, and I think they've got to realise that it's a long, long road. I've realised that. I mean, that's what I think anyway. That's only my opinion. What I'm starting to learn over the years.
Yeah, I think we come to a lot of the same conclusions, David. I certainly see the future that lies ahead for independent filmmakers that are going to have that sort of, that are going to really be able to sustain themselves. I think a lot of them are going to have their ties, onto YouTube, and they're going to sort of utilize YouTube in addition to sort of, the films that they create. I mean, if you look at someone like Freddie Wong, it's really remarkable what he's been able to do, because, pretty much, as far as I know, every video he puts online brings him about $10,000. Recently, he asked, his Kickstarter campaign from like a year or two ago, I mean, he asked for $75,000. He was able to raise $300,000 to make that film, or to make the web series, Video Game High School. And then it's like each episode he releases is churning out $10,000 at least. I don't even know how much money he's getting for, I mean, there's at least that money. There's at least that much money coming through. So that's pretty wild. We don't necessarily know a lot of people in the independent film world where they're putting up content, that much content, and having that much revenue come through. Obviously, he has a payroll. He has to pay his whole crew, and he's got staff, and that's the whole deal. So it's not all in his pocket, but but he's earning his living doing what he loves to do.
But the reason the YouTubers have got an advantage against us as well, again, because when you speak to most YouTubers, I know you spoke to them, what I've saw online is they just have so much fun. They don't actually feel they ever had any hope of getting to Hollywood or being noticed by Hollywood, so that or awards, so that's dead. They just make shit for fun, which really you should do it for fun. So they make it for fun, and they make more of it. The problem with independent filmmakers is they don't really know what they want. You could say, what do you want as a filmmaker? Oh, I want to be successful, I want to go to Hollywood, or I want to go to Sundance. And it's like, that's just a very general desire. That's no defining what you want. You know, you've got to know what you want. You know, you've got to know whether you'd really cut the bullshit. You want to work in Hollywood, or do you want to get awards, or do you want... The minute that you know what you want and go, no, I don't care about awards, I don't give a shit about Hollywood, then I can take this route. But then you go 100%. If you don't go 100% in a certain way, if you go 100% that you want to work in studio films and you spend 7 years trying to do a trailer for a sci-fi movie that maybe get noticed by a studio, fine, but know exactly where you want to go. Whereas as YouTubers, they don't even think that way. They just think, I'm making this shit for fun. So they don't, in a way, we get drawn, I'm not saying us, but independent filmmakers in general are getting these kind of magnetic draws towards Hollywood or Sundance, or rather than just coming for the point and making stuff because they fucking love it, you know. And like when I made Screen last year, it wasn't even, am I going to make a horror film that's going to make money? It was more, I need to jump out of my comfort zone. I need to go to the other side of the world without any money to make a film. I'm going to learn how to shoot myself. I'm going to learn how different skills. And it's that fun aspect, you know. And I'm not going to spend 100, 200 grand of somebody's money because I don't know really what I'm going to do with it. You know, I had a plan for a drive-in stuff, but that kind of changed because the internet's changing and evolving and opening up these new opportunities, you know. But it's just that, I think it's that way. Back to it. You notice this about something. I start a question, I fall down a fucking hill and I go, I take another road. But back to what I was talking about was, I think it's important to know where you want to go, you know. And you made a clear decision with Goodbye Promise on Indiegogo. Bang, we're going that way. And that's what I admire about that. You know, you made a decision on it. It wasn't, you know, should we try this? We might get to festivals, we might get here. It was like, no, that's where we're going. Whatever happens, you know. And I think that's the right way to go, you know, with things.
Yeah. And by the way, let me just say the reason we're wearing these hats is today's David's birthday. So happy birthday. I don't think we established that while we were on the air.
Looks great for 72.
I know, doesn't he? Dick Clark taught him a lot. That's why, yeah. But and you know, and I like what you said too, David, earlier, that you kind of felt in talking with Oklahoma and Nikki that, you know, someone was probably going to do this. And when David told me the idea, I was afraid that someone would get to it before we actually launched it. And I know with David, he likes to think about things really, really carefully. With me, I think I'm more like, okay, let's do this now. So I think there was that pressure to get it out there, because I felt too, even though this was David's idea, I felt that probably someone's going to do this, and that it was only a matter of time before it did happen.
Well, let me jump in there, you know, because with this idea, I really wanted to go and I wanted to get this thing started. So what happened on our end is our very first review was from the LA Times, and so it was a really, really favorable, positive, glowing review that we weren't anticipating for our small little movie. You know, it's almost like striking the jackpot like right off the bat. And so all of a sudden, and then as we screened it at the Downtown Independent that first week, you know, this small little movie of ours was really affecting people, you know, and so, you know, when you're making a film, you have those kind of hopes that you know, that maybe something here is gonna connect with those that are seeing it, you know, and we started to get that reaction from people that people are being impacted. It's rough around the edges. It's not for everybody, but you know, it was still performing a lot better than we ever thought it would, you know. So then all of a sudden we're thinking like, okay, well maybe we, you know, people started getting in our ear like, hey, maybe you guys should look at New York, you know, maybe you guys can get a percentage deal at a New York theater and you won't have to pay anything up front, maybe because of the LA Times and the response so far. So we spent like a month and a half New York San Francisco, Austin, Seattle, and that was Karen and Gregor doing all that work.
Right, calling these places.
Yeah, calling everybody. And at the end of the day, it didn't go through because we didn't have the money. That's the bottom line. Like all of a sudden, they were interested to start. You know, when they heard the LA Times, they're interested. But then as soon as we don't follow through with any money, all of a sudden the emails don't come back, the phone calls don't come back. And I was getting really anxious. I'm like, look, I don't want to keep wasting time like hoping for this city or this city or this film festival. Like other people are like, you should submit to AFI, you should submit to Toronto, you should submit to Tribeca. And it's just like, you know, I want to get this thing out to the people. I felt this was the way to do it. So, you know, with this particular idea, I was like, I didn't want to keep dragging along. So there was that aspect of it, but then there was also another aspect that was really scary. And so it was almost like a relief because the initial plan was after our 1 week run in June, the plan was, okay, like after the 1 week, then bam, we're right online.
Right.
So, you know, there's another aspect of it where it was actually kind of relief to me because here we are, we're jumping into new territory. Maybe we weren't quite ready at the time to do this. And so, you know, it kind of like took a little pressure off me to have to go from the 1 week run pushing that to all of a sudden having to jump into this right away. So it's been this weird dynamic that I've been facing.
Yeah. I think, again, it's back to that thing, you've got to know what you want because, you know, we all get told, people tell you, try this festival, go that festival, and go here and go there. And then you go, well, wait, why am I doing this? Okay, I think if you've raised a lot of money for investors and they're comfortable that they want you to take it to the conventional routes and getting sales agents in a room, distributors in a room with a sales agent and bidding against it, if you've raised $500,000 or something, then kind of traditional, you know, yeah, I can understand that, but when you've made something for small or no budget, and if you've made it from crowdfunding, like I've done on my screen, then there's a way you can kind of give it back to the people, you know, and kind of and building the audience again. So it's like, but if you have raised money, or if you want to go to festivals because you do want to try and get a Hollywood career and you want to try and get noticed by the industry, if that's really what you want, I think it's just knowing what you want. But I think too many people go, I've got to go to this festival, I've got to take my shot at this festival, I've got to apply to this festival, and it's like, life is fucking short. You know, it's like, the way that you look at life, I don't think people contain and think about it enough to, what do you want, why are you submitting it there? It's almost like that's what you do, you know, but the world has changed. You've got to start thinking a different way, you know, because everything's completely changed. So I think that's, you know, and that's what, again, what I admired about what he's done, just bang, go there and just do it. And I think that's what more people need to do in the future. Just define what you really want to get. Is it an audience you want to get? Is it a career? Is it, you know, exposure? Is it, you know, and at the end of the day, like, you know, if you do get your work out there and you build an audience over the years, you're more likely to get noticed if you do want to get noticed by the industry as well. If you get 500,000 people or 100,000 people behind you, you know, that you're going in front of them and you come to the table with a better deal to make something. Whereas if you're trying to get in that door that everybody else is trying to get in and you're behind that big crowd, you know. So it all still leads back to the same place if you want to, wherever you want to work, really, you know. But I think it's just, me personally, I don't down people that don't that go the festival route or whatever. I have no real opinion there. It depends on each person's circumstances in film. For me personally, it means nothing to me. I submitted to 2 festivals. The only reason I submitted was because a sales agent saw a screen, and they distribute really bad movies, but they've got names in them, really shitty movies. They don't care if a movie's good. They only care if it's got a name in it because they can sell 200,000 DVDs. As you know how it works. So they advise to submit to this festival. If you get in there, then we'll take it. And it's like, fuck that. You know, it's like, so I did. I submitted, and there's no way that Screen is going to make any impact on Toronto or whatever, you know, because it was industry movies, you know. And I regretted submitting it, but it was no big deal. But I have no desire to submit to any festivals. But again, I made this movie for nothing, you know, and it's crowdfunded, so I can afford to do that. You know, and it's time. You know, I want to move with things. I don't want to sit and wait. You know, because your spirit gets killed. Your spirit dies the more that you're sitting and you're waiting in this industry. you've got to keep that alive. You've got to keep moving. That's the way that I see things anyway, you know. Because the more that you don't move, as you guys will know, we all know as filmmakers, the more that you don't move, you start to feel shit about yourself. You start to feel a fake, and I like make movies, you know. Where's that kind of fucking petrol, you know, over here? You know, it's like, you know, that's the way I feel anyway, you know. It's
well, I'm curious about something. Oh, sorry.
No, it's all. On you go, Karen.
I'm curious about something you said, and I'm going slightly off topic, but you said that the world has changed. Do you remember what time that was that it changed? I realized the world changed gradually, you know, as we go along every year in everyone's lifetime. But in our sort of, you know, as we became adults, when do you think that change actually took place, where it really turned a corner, for good or bad?
I think it wasn't just the cameras, and I think it was social media, because with all this, you know, definitely in social media, you know, in MySpace several years ago, because I was originally going to take Screen across America with a MySpace account with drive-ins and stuff. But I remember watching 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, it was the first movie in the UK that was streamed on a website, you know, and I went, Jesus Christ. And the side that I feel sorry for today, not sorry for today, but because we're a bit older, we've got the experience of the other world. I made a movie the conventional way. The first movie was shot in film. There was no real internet. You know, I've got the experience of that, so I can, if I get a bad day on Twitter or think this is fucking bullshit, this is no what, you know, I can reflect back that when I used to watch a picture coming down the page and it took half an hour to open the picture, you know, young people that are so used to all these tools that take them for granted. You know, I've got a red camera, I can't shoot a movie because I need this, I've no distribution. That's going to be, it's kind of tougher on them. But if you come for the old school, you're like a kid in the sweet shop, you can still see how exciting this stuff is, and you've got to keep reminding yourself, you know. So I think over the last, I think Twitter, you know, really, and actually even to recently, you know, I sent Screen to Oklahoma Ward. In fact, no, I you know, to the backers. And Oak says that he put Screen, you know, on his studio, on a big screen, on the Vimeo account, you know, and it was a 3 gigabyte file that I uploaded. And he sat back and says, we really are in a different time because it looks exactly the way that it came off the timeline, you know. And I think it's those, you know, you just, you get a point where you go, fucking hell, everybody's watching this stuff on iPads and phones and these screens. You know, you get a point where you just, that's why I stopped I originally had the idea to take Screen across drive-ins in America. And then I thought about it, I need to do a campaign, raise a lot of money. And I'm not really going to enjoy the tour because I'm done with the movie, if you know what I mean. It was something I conceived years ago. And then when I saw the internet and I saw the new ways and I came up with this other idea, that's more fun, that's more exciting. You know, I'm still going to get Screen out there in different ways. But it's just, we're changing so fast every 6 months, you know. But I don't think, no matter what, I think even if Facebook disappeared in 3 years' time, or Twitter or whatever, I think the one fundamental thing is going to stay the same, you know. Building the audience, even if we're back to email addresses, you know, which is more important than anything else anyway, you know, gathering those emails. That's what I think, you know. I don't think it's good to predict too far ahead, you know, because things are constantly changing, you know.
But you feel it was social media that was really the turning point?
Yeah. Yeah, well, social media, the turning point for real creative freedom, because within social media, the cameras were so good enough that, you know, you can make a film several years ago, make it very cheaply, and take it to the industry if you want to get noticed by the industry and get a deal. You could still do that, you know. But social media took it to another level where you can go, I can cut these people out. It might take me several years, you know, but I don't need them, you know. And then if I want to work with a bigger canvas in 5 years, if I've got an audience like it says, then they have to come with a deal where they don't come with a list of 100 things that I have to do for them. Because if I've got an audience, they can just leave me, just give me the money and leave me, and we'll do a deal here, you know. So it's that creative freedom that's, to me, for social media. It's not so much the technology with the cameras, you know, it's that you can cut these people out and direct to the audience. It's creeped up, you know, over the last 3 years, I think, you know.
Really?
I think so, you know. But to me, it's just that I keep reminding, you know, no matter, we all get days where we, you know, fuck Twitter and fuck, you know, we do that every day. It's like, what? Did you see me? Oh, you know, and then you go, and then I keep reminding myself, you know, back a few years ago when it was just email, you know, and it was like, oh, there's nobody on the internet. I'm sure my age here now, you know, it was like, you know, there was like 50,000 websites not that long ago. So yeah, to me, it's pretty amazing. I was listening to an interview with, is it Larry Page that created Google, and Charlie Rose was asking him about the internet and how it's evolved, how far he thinks it's evolved, and he says it's 1% where it's going to be, you know.
Wow.
And I can agree. There's another level that's beyond what we can imagine, you know, that I think it's going to evolve to, you know.
Wow, that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
It's exhilarating. Like we were just saying the other day, exhilarating and scary at the same time.
Yeah. But it is a marathon. It's not a sprint, you know. Right. I think everybody wants to sprint, and they don't. You know, I'm 46 years old, and I want to make a sort of content so I can build an audience. Is it the content that I'd really just love to do my whole life? No, I can be fine doing it. I'm creative, I'm working. But in 10 years' time, you know, I'll be 56 years old. I'd like to make a big TV series I completely control with an audience, finances, I've built a big enough audience, or a big action movie, you know, but a different kind of action movie that Hollywood would never ever make. I go, okay, in 10 years' time, I'll be 56 years old. Well, Ridley Scott's 76 and he's making movies. It's nothing, you know. If you're really in it for life and it's your work and it's your passion, you've got to start preparing now for what you want to do in 5 and 10 years' time. You know, that's the way I see it. And really take it serious, rather than, you know, it's, you know, I can see where it's I think I can see where it's going to go, you know. But it's going to be needing filtered, you know, but it's naturally going to filter itself, because when people realise that you can't just make something and put it out, you know, within a week, make something within a week and put it out there, I think they're going to realise that the ones that are in it for the long term are going to be there, you know, and the ones that are not going to drift, you know, and it's a hobby, you know. Sure. Or some will blow our brains out, you know.
Yeah.
That might be one of them.
So you know, is there anything you can speak on, David, in terms of you know, how you're going to begin to craft City of Sin, and how you're going to utilize YouTube, and maybe how that impacts any future full-length, you know, films that you're going to work on? You know, can you?
And just to summarize very, very quickly and simplify it as simple as possible, it's really just about a sort of universe, like the way the Twilight Zone's got a universe, you know, but not a web series, you know, because I like the idea of making, it's just like movies, but they're mini movies, you know, like 45-minute long, 30-minute long, longer content. And these 12 of these will be in this world. One every month is released. You know, I'll make them and release one every single month. But to promote one each month, so, you know, nobody's waiting a year and a half for a movie. They're getting it every month. But also each day, you know, there'll be pictures that go to Instagram that are connected with the movie, branded City of Sin pictures, so that it's the one website, it's the one, I don't have to keep making a new website for a new movie or a new story. It's constantly there promoting the one destination. So if I start to build fans for horror in it and crime in it, they'll just come to that one destination. So there'll be one little movie released every single month with all these spin-off videos they're no marketing videos, they're not promoting it, they're actually teasers that tell you little angles for characters that you don't see in the main story, so it teases you towards it. So by the time the end of the month comes, these pictures go to Instagram, go to the Facebook page and videos, the idea is to get them teased up there for the, you know, and then, so that content, at first I was going to give the main content for free, the main film every month for free as well. But when I look at what YouTubers make, they make a video every month or every week. If I'm putting a few videos, I'm probably going to end up making more content than YouTubers, you know. So that content can be free, you know. But if I charge $1 for every single month, you know, for each movie and people like it, and then they come the next month to see the next film. So as that starts to build, this is a plan anyway, if that starts to build and grow, and then the actors, people that are working on it are in there, they're building their social media, they're promoting that branded site, it's helping them, we're promoting each other. If it starts to grow, in the first year anyway, I want to establish this world and the content in it and the style of it, you know. And then I've got Oklahoma Award. I want to do a story because I've worked with him. I like his work. I know him. But if it starts to grow, then if other filmmakers want to make a film that can be maybe crowdfunded within City of Sin and both, that goes in City of Sin. They get a little deal there. It's promoting their film, promoting their work, and it fills that world. If a filmmaker wants to make a film in Paris, say a heist, 45-minute story, you know, a little quirky story, they make it there. It goes in City of Sin. You know, I'm not trying to make a platform here for filmmakers. I'm not that unselfish. I'm too selfish. I'm trying to make just like YouTubers do, build a fan base when I work first. But if it grows, you know, I want to be making more content, so I can't make films every single, you know, instead of once a month, it may come out once a week, a film. So I need more people. But by that time, it'll be established. I'll spot people that are good. If they want to put their work in there and it's cross-promoting each other, and just build this one destination, you know, over several years. And if it really grows and there's several million people in that and they love the work, genre fans, horror fans, and different types of genres, personal movies that kind of develop in there, and categories, then other content like a big movie or a big TV serial could be created in 3-5 years time, you know, from that. I like that organic way where things are not planned like a structure, like a business plan. The genesis that comes from is want to make content fast, to be creative, to go and shoot for 3 months non-stop. Because when I shot screen, if I really took it all together, I shot within, say, 7 days. I was there for longer, but, you know, I could have shot in 7 days. So if I can make all this content really fast and then it gets edited, then it's putting out a lot of work for the whole year. And it's just building that one destination. So that's really, it's coming from a creative point of view, but then when you do that, other things open up. A Pinterest site for it. So you see that other revenue sources can come in. So naturally, from a business side, can just develop itself. And I think that's the best business ideas, where you're not trying to make money, but you're trying to solve a problem. And then if you solve a problem, then I think that can take care of itself because you build an audience. You know, that's the plan anyway. It might, you know, I'm going to try it, you know, and just have fun with it, you know, and see if I can get it done. Because it's just that everybody's different. Some people want to make a film, go around festivals for a year. They like to travel. They like to go. You know, I would rather travel and make work. You know, so that's the sort of idea, really. You know.
You know, and I mean, it sounds really encompassing, especially someone who's building this up from the ground up. I mean, how overwhelming is it for you, David, to take all this in? I mean, are you overwhelmed by everything you're describing there, or you feel like, no, this is where I'm going?
No, well, yeah, of course. You know, the thing that you need in this life is teams. You need teams of people. But when you're starting out, you have to do a lot yourself to get to that point. And people start to see what you're doing. If you've got a vision for something, they start to get confidence in you, and they want to work on it as well. So I need to build a team as well. But I think doing screen last year really was my wake-up call. That when I was shooting with the 5D and I was shooting fast, and really most of the time there was no crew at all, it was just me and the two actresses, you know. And I realised then it was almost like I'm an independent filmmaker that's like a YouTuber, you know, and speed and the quality's there, okay, on sound and stuff, you know, and this I'll have a little bit of crew that's tight, and, you know, but it's that speed and that immediacy and getting things done fast that I actually enjoy working that way. So doing screen last year, the light bulb came on my head, this is what I want to do, because it kind of, I can do this, I know how to do this, you know, and shooting. If I go to a city, I'm shooting one story in a city that's contained, you know, pretty much in the one place. And if I go to, like, in Las Vegas, I'm shooting 6 stories there that are in the one city. So, you know, you're shooting within weeks a lot of stuff. But I write a lot of stuff. You know, I've wrote a lot of stuff for years, so I like to work fast. You know, it's if I don't work fast, I won't last in this business, you know, because it's like rolling a stone. So it's really, you know, it's coming from that side. It's not trying to think about making money, but if it works, it'll probably naturally make money itself. Because if you build an audience, people believe in you, they want you to make more work, so they give you money to make more work, you know. And I think experiences are important in the future. If you can give people experiences and not just the name of the credits, like there's a few things in this where people can come along to a party in a scene in Las Vegas, 200 people, they can be in the scene, you know, and you can shoot there, and it's part of an experience for a lot. Because I sometimes forget that. Who the hell would want to come on a film or be an extra? Because to me, it's one of the most boring places to be unless you're actually making the film. You know what it's like. It's like, There's nothing exciting going on unless you're making it, you know. But then you forget, no, people do want to be part of that. You know, it's fun if you don't do that, you know, if you're not involved with that. So that's the sort of idea. See how it goes anyway, you know. So what's your idea after this film? What have you changed? Because I know you were talking about YouTubers a lot. Have you changed your attitude? Do you still want to make features, or do you still want to? Or do you want to go a different road, or web serials, or what kind of route do you just want to take?
You know, we haven't fully committed ourselves yet. You know, for now.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I didn't get a chance to touch on is, you know, with Goodbye Promise. I mean, this film was something that we literally started a month, I think, after we started our Film Courage radio show. So it's like as Film Courage became its own thing, while that was happening, we were also filming this movie and crowdfunding for it, and then, you know, trying to work our way through the post-production process. It's been really overwhelming. It's been really grueling to do everything we do with Film Courage, and the amount of emails that come through. That, you know, Karen's answering all the emails, and then trying to handle the social media and interact with people and build an audience. So it's like as we're finishing this film and as we're releasing it, it's like we're completely exhausted. You know, we haven't had time really. I've had plenty of ideas in terms of like there's a lot more work that's there that it's like this is a great idea. I love this idea and I love this idea. So there's plenty of ideas that we've written down some thoughts on. Nothing that we've developed fully all the way. You know, we're definitely learning a lot from when we look at what's happening in independent film, and when we look at what's happening on YouTube, we see some very exciting opportunities there. You know, it's hard to point a certain direction until after these 22 days are up, or whatever we're down to. I think we're down to 22, 21 days on our Goodbye Promise release. So we have to see, like, because, you know, what's interesting is we started to push really hard. We're offering the film for $1, and after 5 days, I think it was, we crossed the $1,000 threshold, which is like, wow, this is really crazy. When you offer your film for $1, and a few days later you're going over $1,000. But then we made the tough decision, you know, and it seems, you know, whatever it seems like, but we made the decision of like, hey, you know what, we're gonna hold off pushing our own film because we're so compelled by this filmmaker in Chicago who wants to make a movie. Before he goes blind, you know, and for me, it's like my mom and dad are both deaf. I've grown up, you know, with impairment, and it's just like, you know what, it just really touches me. It's just a story that really touches me to think that there's this guy that is talented, has proven he's talented. He has this short window of time, you know,
he's young.
Yeah,
he's known
young.
that has this impending blindness since he was it 7 years old?
Yeah, he's known
Something
since
like
the
that,
doctors, but you know, it's obviously something since childhood.
Yeah, and so he knows that there's a ticking clock, and he wants to do this. So
yeah, you know,
it was just the right thing to do.
And we've seen in our own lives over the last few years that it just becomes so precious. You know, there's people that we know right now, this minute, that are dealing with some serious life circumstances, some life challenges. Yeah. You know, we've known people that we've met, that we know in our lives, that have tragically passed away just in the last couple weeks. So there's all this stuff weighing on us. You know, so for right now, in this moment in time, it's just like, you know, we're doing all we can to see Jack see this goal through. So we're gonna push it through today, through tomorrow. He's got about $65,000 to raise, and we're just gonna go all out for it. We've been doing that all week. And then we'll come back to Goodbye Promise. We'll push that with all our power.
I think everybody's going to come back to Goodbye Promise as well, because you still have 20 days left, you know.
Yeah.
I think people will come back and push there. I'll certainly be back there and pushing, you know. So I think you're going to get a good push at the end there, definitely, you know. Yeah. But yeah, I've seen that campaign. At first, you know, because I'm so, you know, I don't mean a tough bastard, I mean, but, you know, I don't usually get caught up in the emotive things, and I've seen other people happening the same, where it's slightly like emotional blackmail a few weeks ago. But then in the last few days, in the last week, I looked at the guys, you know, script and his work, and he's a script writer. There's a lot of people going out there with a camera and they don't give a damn what they're making. They put it online, they try and sell it. He's a script writer. He's dedicated to what he's doing. There's that side where you go, okay, let's forget just about the blind side a little bit. This is a guy who looks like he's going to be a great filmmaker. If he only gets to make one movie, he could continue writing scripts. Do you know what I mean? So he deserves some support there, you know. I know it's a lot of money, and people could say, well, why isn't there less money? You know, because you can make a movie for less. But if he is going to make maybe just, you know, God forbid he can only make one movie, then I would probably go for that level as well, you know. Because if you know, so I'll be pushing it tonight, and I'll push it all day tomorrow to the last minute, you know.
Oh, thank you, Dave. Yeah,
That's
it's
really
just,
nice.
you know, I guess, you know, we also relate to it in the sense that, you know, we ourselves have set that impossible goal. You know, Goodbye Promise, the movie itself is about a man who's chasing the impossible goal of coming. You know, there's so many people that we know that come to LA, and it's just like, you know, we all have this level of ambition, and so it just ties into what we're doing, you know, and
yeah,
you know, even though we have our own impossible release that's underway, it's just like, you know, the thought of like just letting that campaign die when you think like, you know what, we could have got behind it, we could have maybe we could at least seen what we could have done, you know, like as long as we leave everything on the table and we say we did everything we could do to try to get it there, you know, like I said, life is really precious, and it's showing us that in many ways. So,
yeah, you know, and and at the end of the day as well, you know, it's this business is. It is just a movie business, you know. It's like, so I take my work very serious, but I don't take myself serious. The minute you start taking yourself serious, you've got a problem. You know, you can take what you do serious, you know, but it is just the movie business, you know, and it's not worth it, you know. It's I was going to ask you a question before you go. How do you feel being, you know, an independent filmmaker and actress in Hollywood? Do you feel? I've always wanted to ask this in that environment, you know, because you're in a world that, you know, it's movies and it's big movies, you know. Does it feel kind of, you know, that way? I think that way when you know, because I was in Los Angeles shooting my first film there, you know, I never get time to see it much, you know, because it was like on the beach, Santa Monica, all these crazy people and shooting, trying to get through and trying to grab the camera. People were, you know, I never saw Hollywood as such. But do you get that feeling that, because I know a lot of filmmakers that live there that get the draw between independent, but they're there with the studios, so they feel that they maybe want to try the studios. Do you get a draw towards that side where you want to try studios or mainstream, or because you're in that environment, does it affect you in any way, you know, in that? Or do you still hold on to a kind of independent spirit even though you're in Hollywood? If you get what I mean there.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think our focus, for me, I mean, Film Courage is my focus. I don't go on auditions, so I mean, I enjoy acting, but I'm not chasing that. But in terms of like being in the studio system, I don't think I would fit in, and I'm not going to try to pretend to. So I think there's a clear. It's not the work ethic that I just think that, you know, I'm not into being bound by so much of, I think, what goes along with that, and I don't have the pedigree to be involved in the studio system, so I don't have a feeling that they would ever come knocking on my door. So I don't think that's something that I aspire to. Right. I'd rather do something of ours on our own, and great if it makes money, but it's also fun to do in the meantime. So I think we like building something and seeing it grow. That's at least my thing. I shouldn't speak for you.
Yeah, no,
so
I was gonna say, you know, I think, you know, Karen and I are just like a lot of young people, you know, where that lure of Hollywood certainly draws you in.
Yeah.
And I think we have both come to Los Angeles because of that lure, only to discover that really at the end of the day, you know, we're both sort of ground up people. You know, we like to do it our way. We like to build it from the ground up. It's hard to necessarily look at the studio system and say, yes, that's exactly where we're going to be. We're not necessarily going to limit ourselves either, but you know, I think we like to build it from the ground up. And so, you know, it's interesting because we're here, you know, and I guess what's great about what we've done is we're here. A lot of people aren't here. You know, so we have access to so many brilliant people that are in.
Well, that's what I was thinking. You know,
so many creative people all around us, and so, you know, while we're trying to figure out things ourselves, we're able to meet a lot of these people. We're able to talk to them, to learn from their experiences. And then what we've been able to do is sort of capture that in a bottle and share that, through Film Courage. We've been able to do that with our radio show, with our website. And so I guess that's also part of who we are. We're creative people. We like doing things. We're also servants. We're servants. Well,
that's what I loved about you. That's what I loved. Yeah, that's what I loved about your show. Because I'm not a big fan of people telling people what to do and how to do this when they don't. And what I loved about your show was case studies. It was people that had done stuff. They were sharing their experience, and that's what was really attractive about the show, where I hear a lot of people like do this and do that and they haven't done a great deal, and buy my book because I've done a movie 20 years ago and I know about movies, so buy my book. And it's like, no, you need people that are doing it at this minute, today, that's on finger on the pulse, and and you get people on that were doing that, and that's why, because I like to just learn by mistakes. I like put my hand in a fire and scream, which is so stupid. I like to fail, but I like to listen to people. And there's plenty of fail, there's plenty of that in this business. That's what I do is fail, But I like to listen to people that have done it, and just, it's like going through a minefield. It's like, don't get down that road because you're going to lose a leg there. My friend just lost 4 fucking fingers there. Don't get down that path. It's like a minefield, this business. And if you can learn from each other, and that's what a lot of your show done, So, just to thank you for that, because I never really have, I learned a lot.
That's kind of what it was for us as well, too, because I think, and that's how it grew, was that we got excited hearing these people's stories, and a lot of times we just wanted to go in the studio and just have them sit back and tell us, and not really even have to do much talking. So it was, I know you said it for a long time, it was like therapy for us. But I like what you said, just kind of capturing this stuff in a bottle. That's a great analogy. That's cool. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's one thing we love about being here in LA. We love the access to all these brilliant people. And more recently, we've stopped doing LA Talk Radio, and we've sort of taken our show on the road, so to say.
It's been fun.
With a little video camera.
It's been really fun.
It's been great because we're able to sort of practice with the camera more. Set up shots. Try to get the best shots that we can. But we're going to people's homes and we're meeting some pretty incredible people.
It's been amazing.
It's been really cool.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're ever in LA and you want to do a show, LA Talk Radio is definitely a great place to go. But we just felt that it was time for us to move on, and that we were locked into a certain time and all of that.
Certain time every Sunday, and you get more freedom this way. And I can understand. Yeah.
So we're having a good time with it.
Yeah.
So we like it.
Yeah. So, do you have any other questions on our Goodbye Promise release, or
what's your plan after Indiegogo? Do you have a plan that you're going to do after one? Just curious, that you're going to are you going to sell it from a website? Are you going to try and put it on iTunes as well, or you got a plan, another idea?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure this out, and I think hopefully the answers will be revealed in the next couple of weeks here. But something we certainly had in mind all along is we have our original Kickstarter backers, that, like yourself included, that we'd like to get a DVD copy out to. So at some point, after this release, we'd like to sit down, finalize the DVD. We just want to get a DVD copy out to all of our backers. We'd love to get it onto additional platforms also. But I can understand. I'm the same way with Screen at the moment. It's like, should I do this and should I do that? Just curiosity. And are you going to? I was asking. I'd watched some of the other videos where Adam, I forget his second name, Leipzig.
Yeah, he was talking about other perks. Are you going to put other perks on? Are you going to keep it the $1-2, or
I think in terms of the perks, I think we through Karen and I sort of going back and forth on sort of how we wanted to shape the Indiegogo campaign, I think we've stumbled into actually the perfect way to do it. At least for us. Maybe for other people that come along after us, and maybe they'll experiment with a couple other things. For us, we want to keep it really simple. Karen was the one that said she really wanted like something more than $1. And I think we're experimenting with the $1, $2, and she also wanted to cap off the limit at 100. So the first 100 people have an opportunity to get the film for $1. And I think what we'll do after this is we want to keep people accessing the film very easily. So we'll probably introduce a second $1 reward. I don't know if we'll call it like Early Birds 2, or maybe we'll call it Early Lions or Early Tigers or something like that. And instead of doing 100 backers, we'll do maybe it's down to like 50. So now it's only 50 people that can get that reward for $1, and we'll kind of keep that window tight. And I guess we'll just keep doing that over and over again, because it gives us a very interesting device. It's like all of a sudden when that dollar is used up, like because right now I think we have like 50 slots left or something, but eventually it's going to wind down, and then we'll be able to promote the fact that like, hey, there's only 10 slots remaining for you to get it for $1. So then we'll get some people to jump on board, and then that'll disappear. And then we'll reset the next one, and then that'll go down and be like, hey, guess what? There's only 10 slots remaining to get $1, and it becomes something that we can constantly create that scarcity.
Right, and then we have one that's it's like the premium. It'll be probably in the $49 range. It'll be a mouse pad that you can get with the film. So.
Right.
I was like, what is this mouse pad?
I was trying to put a polite face on there, Karen.
Yeah, exactly, and it's ergonomic, so that the wrist press. Yeah, no, I'm totally kidding. That's the thing. We didn't know what to do because so many of these perks. It's a great idea, but I mean, how many people really buy T-shirts? I hate to say it,
Well, I've got a. Yeah, I totally understand.
Yeah.
It's like you have this. You have this small little movie that no one's ever heard of, and yet I want a T-shirt of that movie. It's just like, I think we have to make it into something that's larger, something that has like, that reaches more people before it's like we're going to commit to a coffee mug or a T-shirt or a movie poster. It's just like, if
it's that side. I think we've all learned from Kickstarter and Indiegogo as well. Like, I'm preparing a Kickstarter for, say, October, and you go through it and you really think this time about non-physical items. But at the same time, you don't want to shortchange people that, you're trying to keep the physical stuff until the higher prices, So when I saw the $1, $2,
this is actually one of the perks that we're going to later have.
Okay. That's worth at least $50.
It is, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's the $50 perk. But that's,
you had a great point.
Go ahead.
Oh no, you had a great point. Whoops. Oh, about perks. You were.
Yeah. No, I was just saying it because we've all had experience in Indiegogo and Kickstarter. We do really think about the type of perks that we're doing these days, where you're trying to do non-physical items because you're thinking about what the cost that's going to come off them, what you're going to post. So you're trying to get more inventive with perks, and. Again, you have kept it very simple, which is, I can see the total upside in that, because there's no big physical items or mouse mats or, and people really, I don't really think they want that stuff anyway, And I think in the future, with higher perks as well, if people can get some experiences in films, like where they're coming along to something, there's no physical perk, I think when you go to $50, you have to give a physical perk, but the $25 range, I've saw some campaigns where they've stopped giving the DVD at $25, but they've got a lot of other cool stuff in there that's worth $25, So I think it's that balance, and so that's why I can totally see the attractive side of what you have done, because it's cutting out all that other stuff, because it is a fine balance. But I think we're all starting to learn to do these campaigns, what we need to pick, be more strategic about it,
Yeah,
So.
I guess where we're coming from is, a big part of this release is just to let go of the ego. It's just like we realized we didn't have any production budget to make this film. It's really small. We're not out here saying like this is the best film you're going to see this year. At the same time, we can say, look, Gary Goldstein of the LA Times, he doesn't just do reviews for the LA Times. He's also
I know who he is. Yeah,
he's the producer of Pretty Woman. He's the producer of Under Siege. I mean, his movies have made over $1 billion at the box office, and he has seen our little movie, and it really touched him, and he really loved it. So it's just like, so we know where the movie stands. We're not trying to have some big ego thinking like this is a Sundance film or whatever. It's just like, for us, I guess I just want to say that, and then in terms of what the perk should be, is it's like, hey, the perk is the film is done, and we're the first one.
That's the point. I think people are more concerned about, are you going to do what you said you were going to do with the money, make the film, and start your career, and start. I think that's what people really want. They want to see you're going to do what you say you're going to do, give it the best shot with the little money that you have, and you've done that, So I agree with you. I agree there.
We don't need a ton of perks. We have the movie. The movie itself, hopefully, is a little bit of a perk, and we're trying to capture our story and share the story. So if anyone wants to sort of follow the journey or learn maybe a little bit here and there in terms of how we approached our release, because we feel like not only are we releasing the film, but we feel like we're engaging with people and we're capturing a story. We're being very transparent with, it's why we can't hide it. You see very clearly exactly where we stand in terms of how many people have contributed. So that's how many sales we have, and you can see exactly how much money's come in from that. You can do the average in terms of what the average donation is, and it's all there in front of you. We're not trying to hide it. We just want people to see the film. We want to share the work and see where that takes us. And we believe in the power of building that snowball and pushing it forward. We believe in the power of, because it really gets kind of frustrating when you see a movie that you really like, maybe at a film festival or in a limited theatrical release, and it's like you want to tell other people about it, but you really can't because it's not available anywhere. So we want, we just want it where when people see the movie, it's like, hey, this movie is pretty cool. Check it out, and then bam, it's only $1. Like there's no friction. There's nothing to slow it down. It's like if someone likes it, they enjoy it, they can share it.
I think it's important losing that ego aspect, because I've known filmmakers over the years. I used to go to Cannes Festival years ago, and I hang out with filmmakers before social media, and they'd say, I've got a deal here in my movie, I've got a deal there, I've got a deal with a sales agent, it's going to be at Lionsgate, it's going to be on the shelves here, not in the cinema, but on DVD at the time. And I go, well, what did you make on it? Oh, we're never getting money, we've got like £4,000, but we're getting more work out there. And half the time they never did. This is different because it's like, the transparency is there. There's a lot of filmmakers hide that shit and they really don't get any money. Where here you're seeing it, you own the film, you're building the audience probably better than a lot of filmmakers that go to some festivals and give it away. You're getting direct to the audience. So, I think a lot of filmmakers like to hide and give the impression that they're, doing better than they are. But we all know this is tough, So, I think it's great,
I think at the end of the day, you can have a great film, and I think really, if you're doing well with the film, and if the film is reaching people, and if it's generating the revenue, I think you'd see a lot more people who are really talented. I mean, there's some great filmmakers out there, some people far more talented than myself that never go on to make that next project, So how is it that they have such passion to make this movie, and they do it so wonderfully, and yet it just ends and they never want to make another film? Like, what's going on there? Like, what are we missing? Like, so we're just like, hey, we realize what we have, and we just want to share it. We want to put other people in a position to share it, and we felt it would just be more exciting to do it that way.
Yeah, no, I agree, totally. Totally agree.
So, I don't know. You have anything more for David, Karen?
What's the one Kickstarter or Indiegogo project that's really blown you away that you've seen in the last couple of years? And why?
I'm trying to get the screen back here. Yeah. There is projects that have blown, that have been impressed by, that are non-film projects as well. But it's not so much any particular project as such, because I come back to this thing. I don't think it's about. I've seen people that have made a great film, just like you've said, in the past, and they've disappeared, and they've went to a job, and it's like they had talent. I see that every day. I see actors that are the next Marlon Brandos, they disappear, they can't hack it, So what impresses me is the people that stick with it, the people that keep moving, the people that are in it for the long stretch and the marathon. It's more to do with individuals that I get impressed by rather than particular films. you know, because it's more to do with that. When I see somebody's getting their heels dug in, rolling up the sleeves, and they're going to go the full road to the very end, and even if they know that they might not get anywhere, they're still going to they've decided to take it to the end. It's individuals that impress me rather than particular movies, because there's so many good movies out there, but there's so little time to see them as well in life. You know, you pull up Netflix and there's movies there, there's so many bad movies as well. It's more to do with the individuals I get impressed by, you know. And then I think as the years go on, we're going to see those individuals, we're going to see a body of work. I don't think we've had enough time online to see a body of work, because you take Clint Eastwood doing a movie where we're going to see a monkey but it's an orangutan, you know, every which way but loose, you would go, I don't think he's going to be influenced, you know, in American cinema. I don't think he's going to be a really big influence in American cinema. It's going to be Scorsese or Coppola. And look what's happened to Clint Eastwood. You can never define anybody for what they're doing at this minute. You can never package them into a box saying, oh, I know who they are. Nobody really knows until you see a body of work. And I think it's going to be 10 years' time that they will then start to see individuals, because their body of work and their endurance. Because a lot of people are still trying to fight to get to there, and they get to there, whatever that is, in Hollywood, whatever, and then they taper down because they make bad decisions doing commercial movies because they want to earn a bit of money. You know, you get these great actors, then they suddenly get into the studio movies, and the same great filmmakers, and they suddenly go that way. You're going to get a new type of filmmaker that doesn't take that road at all, and over 10 years they're going to build a great body of work that's completely different, and they're not going to get seduced by that. So I'm more in individuals, you know, like Gregory Bain, and you know, it's a bigger way, but the small circle I'm in, guys like that, where they get it, you know, and you guys, you get it. He's going to be here for a long time, you know. Oklahoma Ward, he gets it. He's going to be here for a long time, you know. So I think it's over the next few years that it's me personally is getting impressed by individuals. And there's a lot of other people there that I haven't mentioned, but it's too many to mention, you know. And the couple that done I forgot the name of the movie. I used to speak to them.
Even in Kyle?
What's the movie? They disappeared from the internet.
Was it Ink, Jamin and Kyle?
Yeah. You know, I was really impressed by them, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those two are amazing.
Yeah.
So,
it's mainly people, you know.
Yeah, no, we feel the same way you do, David, and that's where this is so great, because we love taking the opportunity to take time out, connect with a kindred spirit that sort of, you know, that's kind of doing the same kind of stuff we're doing, that shares a lot of the same thoughts that we have, you know, that evolution, you know, we're growing on this new frontier together, and you know, we can kind of look around and just I guess just be inspired, you know, just have that respect, and then at the same time be inspired that someone else out there is putting that time in, putting that hustle in. And
I think learning from each other, making mistakes and learning from each other's mistakes, you know, and it's just, you know, that, and I think it's good to connect this way, because it's easy to get misunderstood online. We all get misunderstanding each other, and, you know, in certain ways. I know I've put blog post things and people think he's an asshole, and it's like we all get, when you can start to communicate what you really mean, it's really difficult. You know, I think you're laughing, Karen, because I put a blog post once as made a comment. He sounds like a right asshole.
No, I think it's funny. I mean, we all think it. I know. We don't know. That's what I love about you, is you just say it. So that's great. That's really cool.
But when I say things, it's usually tongue in cheek. Usually not as serious as I seem about it, you know, and that's why it's good to communicate this way sometimes, because people can start to see each other. Some of the videos that you've spoke to Ross Pruden and other people, you get a better idea of people, you know, when you see them on video as well, you know, which is great.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
All right.
You know.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
This was fun. We should do this again.
It's great. It's great talking to you, you know.
Well, sorry, you said you were going to release your next Kickstarter in October?
Yeah, I went with another crowdfund site, and I knew the first week it was a mistake, because when you go into the platform, it's no down the platform, because it's a business platform for investment, because I was after more money, and I don't think I could raise the level of money that I needed on Kickstarter, because I don't have a big enough following. So I tried this investment platform because a couple of individuals could invest that large amount of money. But it's such a different from Kickstarter, because we know Kickstarter works and Indiegogo works because of the crowd, because people in small amounts of money then become the marketers on this platform. Somebody gives 5,000, they disappear. They're not there promoting you. You can't communicate with them the same way. They don't get behind it. Anybody from the US, I've got a lot of US followers, couldn't invest in it. So I knew right away it was like I couldn't get creative because there was no perks. I knew right away that this is not the way to do it, you know. So. And I got a big investor interested, but they don't know how this. Well, you're going to give your content away for free, and they don't get it. They don't know this new world, you know. I said, yeah, but I can monetize this way, you know, potentially. So I've let that go because I didn't want to. And it was 3 months. It was 3 months long. You can't set it for any less. And I went, that's just going to piss people off. And then it's like I'm pushing at people, and it's like, yeah, but we can't do nothing with it because we're going to use this, you know. So I let it go because it was just the wrong way to go. You know, and then you just like, oh, I made a mistake there, start again. But, you know, so probably October, you know, beginning October. I'm making sure that I really prepare it well and really get the vision for this whole world and videos every day. And, you know, it's the preparation you guys know, you know, and stuff. So, yeah, probably October, end of September. You know.
So when does Kickstarter officially go to England? Like, when does that officially happen?
It goes, I think it's this autumn, I don't know what date, and I'll do it that way. But because I've got the Oklahoma Award, I'm going to have him doing one of the stories in this City of Sin. Then I've still got that partnership with him. And in Kickstarter, if you've got a US sort of creative partnership, you can do that, you know, because I've done that in Screen.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
that's the way I can do it if it hasn't came here yet. But Kickstarter's the right route. I won't be trying to raise the level of budget that I was trying to get before, slightly lower than that, you know. So we'll see how it goes. And I'm going to do something with Screen within that, you know, as well, where it's like a preview, a Screen to horror fans, you know, kind of similar. You know, I'm not releasing the movie that way, but it's like a preview for, say, $1. So people can see, well, how are you going to make all these movies for that price? Well, if you look at Screen, I had no money on that, but $4,000 to make it. It was resources and people helping. You know, it'll give people an idea that this never cost $200,000 to make, but it looks pretty expensive. So people can see the movie for, say, $1 and they go, right, I get what he's trying to do, you know. So that'll be a sort of preview of that to build horror blogs and horror fans towards it as well, you know. And then a release Screen, you know, at the end of the year. There's a few options. There's a drive-in option, a DIY. I've got a couple of ideas with that, you know. But the City of Sin one is getting on with the next thing. See how it goes, you know. It's just putting the preparation in, the proper preparation this time, you know, because I'm going to try and raise quite a bit of money. You know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. David, thank you for taking time out. We know it's late.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's late where you are. It's nighttime there. We're gonna swing back over and try to see if we can continue to spark Jack Marchetti's campaign and push that forward.
I'll give a push you as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we're gonna do. But thank you.
Yeah, this was fun.
We look forward.
Nice.
I'm sorry.
No. It was just nice to see you face to face here. This is great. So.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good.
Cool.
After all these years, I forget how long it's been. It's like 2.5 years, 3 years. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, time just flies.
Yeah, you just get lost in the grind. You know, you get lost, and you know, it's hard for us to believe it's been this long as well. You know,
yeah.
We just
Yeah.
Hopefully,
okay, folks. Thanks. Great talking to you. And I'll be pushing your campaign when this one's over as well. So push it right to the end. You know.
All right.
Well, thanks.
David,
Thank
we're
you,
lucky.
David.
We're lucky to have you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
David.
you. Cheers a lot. Thanks. Catch you later.
All right. That's
Cheers.
good.